A CVT replacement costs between $3,500 and $7,000. That's the bill waiting for millions of drivers who have no idea their transmission is slowly dying right now. And here is what makes this even worse. Most of these failures are completely preventable. Japanese mechanics, the same engineers and technicians who designed and built these transmissions, have been following a maintenance protocol for years that American dealers almost never tell you about. It is not complicated, it is not expensive, but it can be the difference between your CVT transmission lasting 80,000 miles or pushing well past 200,000 miles. Today, I am going to walk you through the exact method Japanese mechanics use to save CVT transmissions. 7 steps that most dealerships in America either ignore or flat out contradict. By the end of this video, you will know more about keeping your CVT transmission alive than 90% of the mechanics working on your car. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about why this matters right now. CVT transmissions are everywhere. Honda, Nissan, Subaru, Toyota, Mitsubishi. If you bought a car from a Japanese automaker in the last decade, there is a very good chance you are driving one. Nissan alone has been slapping Jotco-manufactured CVT transmissions into practically every model they sell, from the Sentra to the Pathfinder. And the failure rate on those earlier units has been absolutely catastrophic. Nissan paid out $277.7 million in a class action settlement covering defective CVT transmissions in the Rogue, Pathfinder, Altima, Sentra, Versa, and Infiniti QX60. Owners reported transmissions shuddering, jerking, stalling, and dying completely at as low as 30,000 miles. That is basically a brand new car. The problem got so bad that Nissan was forced to extend warranties to 84 months or 84,000 miles on multiple model years. But here is the thing nobody talks about. Those same Jotco CVT transmissions, when maintained the way Japanese technicians recommend, regularly hit 200,000 miles and beyond. The Nissan Murano, with its 3.5-liter V6 and CVT, has owners in Japan routinely crossing 300,000 kilometers without a rebuild. The hardware is not the whole problem. The maintenance approach in America is. So what is the Japanese mechanic method? Let me break it down. Step 1. Change the fluid early and change it often. This is the single most important thing you can do for your CVT, the continuously variable transmission, and it is the one thing dealerships in the United States get catastrophically wrong. Many dealers will tell you that CVT fluid is a lifetime fluid and never needs to be changed. That is the biggest lie in the automotive industry right now. There is no such thing as lifetime transmission fluid. CVT fluid breaks down. It loses its friction properties. It becomes contaminated with microscopic metal particles from the belt or chain grinding against the pulleys. When that fluid degrades, your transmission overheats, the belt slips, and internal components start eating themselves alive. Japanese mechanics follow a strict interval. Every 30,000 miles, the CVT fluid gets changed. Period. In severe driving conditions, stop-and-go traffic, extreme heat, cold climates, and short trips, that interval drops to every 15,000 to 20,000 miles. One Subaru owner in Australia documented changing their CVT fluid every 20,000 kilometers from new, and their transmission was still running perfectly with zero issues at extremely high mileage. Compare that to the horror stories from owners who followed the lifetime fluid advice and had their CVT die before 80,000 miles. The difference is staggering. Step 2. Use only the correct OEM fluid. No exceptions. This is where a lot of well-meaning car owners destroy their own transmissions. CVT fluid is not the same as regular automatic transmission fluid. They look different, they smell different, and they have completely different chemical compositions. CVT fluid is specifically formulated with friction modifiers that allow the belt to grip the pulleys while simultaneously lubricating them. Regular ATF is designed to minimize friction between gears. Put ATF into a CVT and you can cause catastrophic failure within days. Even a single tablespoon of regular red ATF in a CVT system can cause severe damage. Japanese mechanics insist on manufacturer-specified fluid. For Nissan, that means NS2 or NS3 depending on your model. For Honda, it is HCF2. For Subaru, it is their proprietary CVT fluid. For Toyota, it is their specific CVT FE formulation. Some quality aftermarket options exist, like Ineos, which is actually made by the same company that produces Nissan's factory CVT fluid for the Japanese domestic market. But the golden rule from Japanese technicians is simple. When in doubt, use OEM fluid. The cost difference between OEM fluid and the wrong fluid is $40. The cost difference between a healthy CVT and a dead one is $5,000. Step 3. Drain and fill. Never flush. Here is a critical distinction that Japanese mechanics are adamant about. They perform a drain and fill procedure, not a full power flush. A drain and fill removes roughly 30 to 40% of the old fluid and replaces it with fresh fluid. A power flush forces new fluid through the entire system under pressure, displacing all the old fluid at once. Sounds better, right? Wrong. Honda's own official recommendation warns against power flushing CVT transmissions. The reason is that over time, fine metal particles and wear debris settle in the transmission. These particles actually help maintain friction on worn surfaces. A power flush can dislodge all that debris at once and push it into narrow hydraulic passages, valve bodies, and solenoids, clogging critical components and causing immediate failure. Japanese mechanics use the gradual approach instead. Drain and fill, drive for 500 to a few thousand miles, then drain and fill again. After 2 consecutive services, you have replaced roughly 60 to 70% of the fluid without shocking the system. It is gentler, safer, and far more effective for transmissions that have not been maintained on schedule. Step 4. Warm up before you drive hard. This is something Japanese owners have practiced religiously for decades, and it's especially critical for CVT transmissions. Cold CVT fluid is 10 to 20 times thicker than fluid at operating temperature. When you start your car on a cold morning and immediately floor it onto the highway, your belt is trying to grip pulleys with fluid that has the consistency of honey. The internal components lack proper lubrication. The pulleys can't build adequate clamping pressure, and every hard launch with cold fluid is grinding years off your transmission's life. Nissan actually programs their CVT transmissions to hold higher RPM when the fluid is cold, deliberately keeping the transmission in lower ratios to reduce stress until temperatures come up. That high revving behavior you notice for the first few minutes of driving in cold weather? That's the transmission protecting itself. Hey, before we continue with the remaining steps, if you're finding this useful, hit that like button. It helps more people find this video and potentially save their transmissions. Japanese mechanics recommend letting your engine idle for 30 to 60 seconds before driving, then keeping speeds moderate and avoiding hard acceleration for the first 5 to 10 minutes. This allows the CVT fluid to circulate, reach operating temperature, and provide proper lubrication before you ask it to handle high loads. In extremely cold climates, below 25 degrees Fahrenheit, some owners' manuals specifically state you should idle for several minutes before driving. 5 minutes of gentle driving is equivalent to 15 to 20 minutes of idling when it comes to warming up your transmission. Just drive easy at first. Step 5. Drive smooth. Protect the belt. CVT transmissions are precision instruments. Unlike a traditional automatic with hardened steel gears, a CVT relies on a steel belt or chain running between two cone-shaped pulleys under extreme pressure, sometimes exceeding 800 pounds per square inch. Aggressive driving absolutely destroys these components. A jackrabbit start from a dead stop generates maximum belt stress and maximum heat. Every time you stomp on the gas from a stoplight, you force the pulleys to clamp down with enormous force while the belt tries to find the right ratio. Do this enough times and you will wear the belt, score the pulleys, and overheat the fluid. Japanese mechanics and transmission specialists consistently emphasize gradual acceleration as the single most impactful driving habit for CVT longevity. Ease into the throttle. Let the CVT smoothly adjust its ratio without forcing it. Use cruise control on the highway to maintain steady revolutions per minute. This alone can add tens of thousands of miles to your transmission's life. One Nissan Maxima owner reported changing CVT fluid every 30,000 miles and driving moderately, and their CVT was still going strong at 224,000 miles on the original transmission. Driving habits are not a minor factor. They are arguably the second most important factor behind fluid changes. Step 6. Manage heat like your transmission depends on it. Because it does. Heat is the #1 killer of CVT transmissions. When CVT fluid overheats, it breaks down rapidly, losing its lubricating and friction properties. Once that happens, the belt slips, components wear at an accelerated rate, and you're on a countdown to failure. The Jotco CVT transmissions that failed so spectacularly in early Nissan models had a fundamental cooling problem. Their 2-port transmission oil cooler provided far less cooling capacity than the transmission actually needed under real-world driving conditions. This meant fluid deteriorated faster than the service intervals accounted for. Japanese mechanics address this proactively. If you live in a hot climate, commute in heavy stop-and-go traffic, drive in mountainous terrain, or do any towing, they recommend installing an auxiliary cooler. These aftermarket coolers supplement the factory cooling system and can reduce operating temperatures by 15 to 30 degrees. That temperature drop translates directly into longer fluid life and longer transmission life. Some newer Subarus actually include CVT temperature monitoring right in the gauge cluster. If you have that feature, pay attention to it. If you see temperatures climbing during demanding driving, back off, slow down, or pull over and let it cool. And if your vehicle does not have a temperature gauge, a simple OBD2 scanner can often read CVT fluid temperature in real time. Step 7. Install a magnetic drain plug and clean the pan. This is the final piece of the Japanese mechanic protocol, and it is brilliantly simple. CVTS constantly generate fine metal particles as the belt or chain contacts the pulleys. It is a normal part of operation. The transmission is designed to capture this debris using magnets mounted inside the pan and through inline filters. But over time, these magnets get saturated and the filters can become restricted. Japanese mechanics recommend that during every fluid change, you clean the magnets in the pan. The amount and type of metal debris you find tells you the health of your transmission. Normal wear produces fine dust. Chunks or large particles indicate serious internal damage. Beyond cleaning the magnets, upgrading to an aftermarket magnetic drain plug provides continuous protection between services, catching metal particles before they can circulate through the valve body and hydraulic system. This tiny upgrade, usually under $20, acts as a constant sentinel, protecting your CVT's most sensitive components. Now, here is the uncomfortable truth that ties this all together. The reason American dealerships push the lifetime fluid narrative is not because CVT fluid lasts forever. It is because shorter maintenance intervals raise the perceived cost of ownership, and that hurts sales numbers. Manufacturers want their cars to look low maintenance on paper. In Japan, where these transmissions are designed and tested, the maintenance culture is completely different. Japanese technicians treat CVT fluid changes with the same urgency as engine oil changes. They understand that a $150 fluid change every 30,000 miles is not an expense. It is insurance against a $5,000 transmission replacement. A properly maintained CVT can easily last over 200,000 miles. We are seeing Honda Civics cross 200,000 miles on original CVT units with nothing more than regular fluid changes using HCF2 fluid. Toyota CVT units, particularly their Kaizen units with the first gear launch cog, are proving to be remarkably durable when serviced correctly. Even Nissan's newer Jatco units, after 2018, have shown significant reliability improvements when owners actually maintain them. So let me give you the quick summary. Change your CVT fluid every 30,000 miles, sooner if you drive in tough conditions. Use only manufacturer-specified fluid. Do a drain and fill, never a flush. Warm the transmission before driving hard. Accelerate smoothly to protect the belt. Keep the transmission cool. Clean the magnets or install a magnetic drain plug. That's the Japanese mechanic method. It is not a secret. It is not exotic. It is disciplined, preventive maintenance applied consistently over the life of the vehicle. And it is the difference between your CVT being a ticking time bomb or a reliable transmission that outlasts the rest of your car. That's all for today. If you found this video helpful, smash that like button. It really does help the channel grow. Subscribe and hit the bell so you do not miss our next video. Drop a comment below and let me know. Are you driving a CVT right now? When was the last time you changed the fluid? Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.